Hi, I'm Dan Obashan, and welcome back to the joy of teaching tennis. Last week I said we were going to talk about group teaching, and I have to start off with telling you a story of how I learned how to group teach. I actually had some experience with group teaching. I was involved in the public parks tennis program in my hometown, first as an instructor and then as the director of the program. And this is when the tennis boom was happening. And we had just masses of people coming out for tennis. I would have 30 people on a court at one time. That was too many to even do line of feeding. And I used to do just pantomime of people. So it was horrible teaching. And I'm very sure none of those people really learned how to play tennis. So when I got into PBI and we did a 4-to-1 ratio of group teaching with 4 students and 1 instructor, I had no idea of what kind of drills to do, especially because Peter emphasized that we wanted the students to do live ball hitting with each other as much as possible and do very little feeding at all. So what we would do is get out there on the court and do these different drills. My problem was I didn't know any drills. So I would study, I bought books of tennis drills, I would do all kinds of things, but I had real trouble remembering the drills. I was lucky though, because in my first couple of years in PBI, I was able to be one of the groups of teachers in a camp environment with Peter Burwash roaming. So we would have 4 or 6 coaches teaching their students on their court, and Peter would roam from court to court, and he would drop in and adjust your drills and add some energy to what you were doing. But again, I would really stress out about not knowing drills. I remember one time on the North Shore of Oahu at the Hyatt Kuilima Resort, I was teaching on the court next to the brilliant Rob Smith. And I did a good job with my court because I was exactly 30 seconds behind everything that Rob did. I would be just standing around with my students watching Rob's court, and when he'd start a drill, I would wait until I understood what he was doing, and then I would start the drill on my court. And then I would let the drill run, and when Rob stopped to pick up balls, I'd let it run a little more. And then when he started explaining his next drill, I would stop and have my court pick up balls. So it was very funny because one of the great learning experiences in these camps was Peter would do a review at the end. We would get all the instructors together, and Peter would go around and tell everybody what they had done well. And that camp, Peter was like, geez, Dan, you had a great flow in your drills. And I just turned and I said, thank you, Rob, because I didn't make up a single word I said in that class. I just followed everything that Rob did. One of the biggest learning experiences for me is we had a PBI show tour. It was not really the show back then. It was just mini tennis with Peter doing all of the work. And a week of clinics at the Anchorage Racket Club in Anchorage, Alaska. And it was Peter Burwash, Rob Smith, Ted Murray, and Bernard Guzman, and myself. And I was still in my first year in PBI, maybe at the end of my first year, beginning of the second year. And every day we would teach 3 hours in the morning, take a long lunch break, and 3 hours in the afternoon, evening. And at the end of those 3 hours, we'd get together and Peter would say, okay, Bernard, here's all the things you did right. Rob, here's all the great things you did. Ted, here's all the things you did right. Okay, Dan, here's all the things you did wrong. And my list was longer than their 3 combined. But I learned every day. So it was great for me. But I still didn't know those drills. So I started studying Peter. And I realized Peter, who claimed he had a bad memory, he didn't remember drills either. What he did was he just started the drill in a certain position and then he would modify it according to what he wanted to accomplish with the students. And I studied this, and I said, this is brilliant. And I started using it in PBI training. So for one of our viewers, Miguel Hernandez, who made a claim that I was sneaky and I didn't do the work, and I made the students do the work. Miguel, I did a lot of work before I did that class with you. But I liked it because it got the trainees, the young tennis professionals, to learn how to modify drills. Now, I'll give you an example today. If you see, whoops, I don't want to drop that. If you see here, I've got like a basic mini setup. The 4 students in position, and they're just doing a mini tennis rally straight down the line, back and forth to each other. There's no other instruction involved. So what would be the simplest, smallest adjustment that you could do with this drill to change it? Well, obviously, it would be to go cross court. So then you'd go ahead and do cross court. So that's the second drill. Well, what would be another modification? Well, let's say everybody hits forehands. So that's our third drill. So I'm going to make little marks up here for how many drills we get. So that's our third drill. Everybody's doing forehands. Now we have everybody do forehands down the line. That's drill number 4. Everybody do forehands cross court. That's drill number 5. Now we have the players on this side do forehands. That's number 6. The players on this side are doing backhands. Then we reverse it. The players on this side forehands, players on this side backhands. That's number 7. Then you can keep modifying it forever. Every time you make a slight tweak in the drill, it's a new drill. Maybe we want to emphasize the use of the opposite hand, the left hand. We want to get the players to really enforce that. So now we'll make all 4 players in between the shots. They have to put the racket in their left hand and wave to their partner. So that's another drill. But then we have them do it down the line and cross court. 2 more drills. Then we have them, you can see what I'm getting at. Every time you tweak the drill a little bit, you can go through all the different dimensions. Depth, you can do spins, you can do the different heights of the ball. You can give targets down there. So every time you make a little tweak in the drill, you've created a whole new drill in the minds of the student. So you can see how in just a short time, you can do 10, 12, 14 different drills off of the same drill set, off the same position. So make your drill sets where you place the students, and then see if you can keep the students in that drill set position, but change what they're doing in terms of the idea of the little tweaks, cross court, direction, what stroke, what spin, etc. I hope everybody understands that. It's not too convoluted. It's very easy to follow if you've got a group of people on a court and you can demonstrate it. But I hope the illustrations on the board help. So one more little drill set before we leave, and we can come back to this topic in the future, is what about the serve? I get asked that a lot, Dan. Well, what about the serve? It's easy to understand these drill sets when you've got players hitting ground strokes or volleys or even volley to ground stroke. But the serve, well, you can start off. The basic drill set for the serve is to have all the students at the baseline. So we'll go student, 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 2 on each side. And everybody's serving at once. So now the drill set is very simple, and we would modify each drill depending on what we're doing. Are we going to have the students isolating the wrist? That's one drill. Are we going to have the students concentrating on hitting up that they have to, any ball in the net, somebody has to run, they have to hit up. We could put a target at the baseline so that they really get that feeling of hitting up and out. We can, to emphasize the wrist snap, we can have them try to make the ball hit on their side of the court and bounce over the net. We can put targets in the court. So on the serve, targets will be the biggest way that you vary the drill set, although you can do the different spins as well. I hope this idea of drill sets makes sense to you. Please make comments and let me know if it doesn't. This was one of my favorite classes that we ever did in PBI training, because once I grasped the concepts of drill sets, it made all the difference in the world to me. I had a friend of mine, one of the guests during the BNP, who said, "Geez, Dan, when I watched you teach groups, you had so many different drills." And it made me laugh because I never felt like I had a lot of different drills. But once I had the concept of drill sets, I could do an unlimited number of drills with that group of students. So before we leave, I hope you'll all hit the like button and the bell so that you'll be notified. As of last week, we were up to 97 subscribers. So that 100 subscribers is a big goal. So I hope we'll get some more subscribers. And thank you so much for your comments and your support of this channel. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the communication. So thanks, and be joyful out there with your teaching. This is Dan Aubuchon signing off.